Yeehaw! And salam alaikum, alaikum salam. And samila gutare to all blessings and peace be to all you guys and your family. I hope you guys are doing great. All your family members are doing well. Children, wives, spouse, everybody. Mother, fathers, uncles, aunt, everybody. You saw that? Looked like I was on a horse or something. Well, that's what we call them here. We call them horses in a certain way. Those traffic we call them muertos. We also call them muertos. We call them dead, like because when you pass through and you go over, it ruins your car. The underneath, it pulls your muffler out if you got it too low and all that. Is to retain the vehicles from speeding and stuff like that in the roads. Anyway, they put them here in Philadelphia. We didn't have those before, but you know, here everybody drives wild, so they put them. But they put so many of them that people get so tired of, including myself, of slowing down and stopping because there's too many. Just like there's a lot of stop signs here in Philly. A lot of stop signs here. If you drive stick shift here in Philly, forget about it. Your legs get tired, your hands get tired because you're constantly shifting, you know, up and shifting down and stopping, and it's a pain in the rear end. But anyway, that's not an excuse. It's just that we just get tired of stopping and slowing down when it's really, when you're doing the speed limit. You know, I see if you're not doing the speed limit, then that's a problem. So they didn't fix anything by doing that. The only thing that I will see is that people will get more business because their cars are gonna get more ruined with those, you know, those speed reducer bumps that they put on the street. I forget the name, what they call them. Anyway, I didn't come here for that. Good morning, peace and blessings once again. I'm just here, you know, this morning. I just had things that I hear and things that, you know, I listen to and things that sometimes comes to mind, like always. And you know, I come on here and I just talk whatever comes to mind. And you know, I wanted to speak a little bit on, you know, spirits and spirituality, and you know, really on spirits and the way that a lot of us look at, you know, when we working with spirits, or we're going to work with a spirit, or we're going to try to get a spirit or encapsulate a spirit, or whatever you may call the way or the tradition that you follow, and how you deal with certain spirits and stuff like that. It's all dependent of what you practice, what you follow in your system and your way. But as far as spirits, we have to understand that, you know, spirits are just not in a cemetery, you know. And there's this big, you know, misconception, you know, that a lot have, not just a few, a lot, you know, that the only way or the only form to obtain a spirit of some sort is you having to go to a cemetery. And I'm not saying digging it up a grave or none of that. I'm just saying that you just have to literally go to a cemetery just to obtain a spirit, to see if you can make some type of treaty or something with a spirit. You know, that the only place you could go is to a cemetery to do that. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. You know it is. You know how it is. I'm making the donut, so gotta make these stops. Same thing happens with, you know, those who say that if you don't have a bone, right, some type of piece of a deceased, then you know you don't have anything. You understand? And that also is not true. You know, because the same way they believe that if you don't have a bone, then you don't have anything. The same way you have to understand that all bones don't have spirits attached to it, or all spirits do not come back and recognize that part of them, you know. So, you know, we got to always keep these things in mind, you know. So not all spirits that you need to work with, you go to a cemetery for them, you know. There's spirits all over in this planet. Everywhere you go, there has to be spirits. Some way, somehow, there's a spirit or spirits. You understand? So you have to understand is that you can have spirits in your house. You can have spirits in your job. There's spirits outside. There's spirits in the country, in the woods. There's spirits every place that you go to. There could be a spirit. Now, the point is, if you are looking, and what type of spirit are you looking for, and for what cause, and for what issue, or for what it is that you need that spirit for, whatever it may be, what type of spirit are you looking for to either materialize or either to use? You don't have to go to a cemetery and look for spirits all the time. Like, that's not the only place spirits abide. Just like you can go to a cemetery and try to conjure up a spirit, and that spirit is no longer there because it has released, it has disconnected himself from that parcel, that body, that bone. Same thing. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, guys. So, you know, once we start understanding like these concepts of spirituality and spirits and stuff, that you don't have to have, or you don't have to go, like you don't actually need a bone, or you don't actually need to just go to a cemetery, you know. And I'm not speaking about digging up anything, because no, don't do that. That's against the law here, and in the States. You can't go that far up to be digging up nothing. So, you know, we're just talking about pulling that spirit, obtaining that spirit, encapsulating that spirit, doing something to make that spirit either go with you or work with you, and whatever you're going to use it for. You know, and we understand that some people grab some type of spirits that are used for doing things that are more, you know, more to the side of what people would say is more negative, more bad or evil or wicked or demonic or devilish, whatever you may call it. There's so many words that people use. And then, you know, there's some people that go to look for spirits that deal with more things, you know, they are more elevated, more positive, you know, in a way. It all depends what are you looking for and what type of spirit do you need or want, you know. And it's very important to also, when you do these things, is to find out the most you can about that spirit. If it's possible that you know the name of that spirit, you know, or at least if you do obtain one, try to find out the cause of death. Try to find out, you know, things of that spirit, you know, what that spirit did in life before it had its fall, because it will be very useful and beneficial for you, because it will be easier for you to be able to deal with that spirit, knowing what that spirit liked, what it didn't like. You know, it's an advantage and a disadvantage. It all depends, you know. And not every spirit you're gonna know everything about them. You understand? But if there are certain things you can learn or find out, then it's better for you, because you could use that, you know, to work with that spirit in different ways, which I'm not gonna sit here and speak about. But just remember that you don't have to go to a cemetery just to conjure up or just to find a spirit that you need because you want to construct something, and you need a spirit. Just look for other ways, not just that way. Just like you don't need a bone to, pour the spirit back to that bone, or have that, some way, somehow, for that spirit to come and get, and recognize what he was attached to for so many years in order for you to work or to implement that spirit, whether it's an Nganga, an Nkisi, a Kinikini, anything, an Nkondi, anything you're going to use it for. It's not, you just don't need the actual bone. So, a lot of us, right? We look at a cemetery and we use the word holy, but we use the word holy, santo, because, we trying to represent it in a positive way. Because, cemeteries are places that you should respect. That's why when you go into those cemeteries, or really wherever you go, that you're going to deal with spirituality. That has to do with any type of spiritual, whether it was human or whether it's non-human, all types of spiritualities. You should always ask for permission to go in. You should pay a derecho to go in there. You understand? And if you don't do that, I would recommend for you to start doing that, or figure out what to do. Ask, I don't know, or when you leave a derecho, wherever it is. You don't want to be going in there and doing things without you having permission to go there, having the licencia to go in, having the initiations to go in, to deal with these things, because, if you're not initiated, and for us, I'm not saying that all practices does this, but for us, if you're not initiated to a certain degree, you shouldn't be going to a cemetery playing around. You understand? You shouldn't be going to the woods, and doing things. It's very important for you to understand this. And I'm not saying that no other tradition does this without being initiated, because there are some traditions that don't go through none of these rites and none of that, but they deal with their spiritual things and their custom or tradition in a different way. So just keep that in mind, guys. Be safe, do things to the best of your ability, the most correct way you could do it. Respect these places wherever you go. Respect these places, because these places deserve the respect, and I know you guys understand it, because you guys know that your family members, a lot of them go and the end of their life, where do they rest at? I'm not saying they rest spiritually there, but where does their body lay at, or is presented to, or is at when you go yearly or holidays to take certain offerings to them and remembrance of them and all that, right? So the same way you feel that respect, right? You want people to feel that respect for your family members. You also have to respect other people's family members and other people who are put in these places. That's how we call it holy, because it's something that you just don't go in there and play around with. You understand? Like it's a joke, like, no. So, just remember, man, there's spirits all over, not just in cemeteries. And you don't just need to go to the cemetery to try to get a spirit, and you just don't need a bone to have a spirit connected or recognize that bone or come back in whatever way or form you're trying to do. So Be safe, guys. And salam alaikum, alaikum salam. I know I gave you guys a tongue twister, a little bit more than a little blabber there, but it just, you know, we need to open up our minds and understand certain things, and, you know, and go from there. Little by little, we'll get there. Some of us more faster, some of us more slower, some of us are only going to get to a certain extent, including myself, due to our environment, due to the people that we have around us, or due to who's teaching us, or due to how awakened, or how are we, you know, being awakened, and how are the spirits working with us, and also the time that we have left in life that we don't know how much time we have. One day you're here, one day you're not. So make the best you could do every day, and look at every day like it's your last day. You know, it's hard, right, to think of it that way, but, you know, sometimes you have to do that. Salam alaikum, alaikum salam, que peace and blessings, and talk to you on the next one.